Hello, welcome to What's New. We were busy playing with the phone. Tonight we have special guests. We have Sharon and Regina and Carolyn, and of course Jean and I.
We're glad
So-
to be here with you all.
Yeah. So they're going to talk about the garden walk, and she's going to talk about art in the garden. Carolyn is. So whichever one of you wants to start talking.
Okay. So I'm Sharon Grass. I'm president and treasurer of the Master Gardeners, and with me is Regina Burke-Bickler, and she is our secretary. And we're here to discuss the garden walk that's coming up May 17th and 18th this year. We also have a plant sale that has become quite popular for everybody. We have a wide variety of plants. I'm here to talk about a few of them that will be on the plant sale, but we're going to have very many more. On the plant sale, that starts on Saturday at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The actual garden walk portion starts at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We do not allow early sales, so plant sale starts at 9, not before. On Sunday, then, we start a little later. It's at 10 a.m. and goes till about 3. Usually, the ticket booths shuts down at around 3 because we're not going to be selling many more tickets. So you won't find us there after that time on Sunday. We've had several requests for strawberries at the plant sale, and this year we're getting some. So I don't know how many, but we are going to have some there. Most of them are not an ever-bearing, they're just a regular strawberry that blooms this time of the year and then produces in the month. I don't grow strawberries, so I'm not.
Usually in June.
In June? Okay, so I brought some plants that I have from my garden. I'm going to start with Regina. She brought this house plant, so can you talk a little bit about it?
Yes, this is an oxalis, and it's ever blooming. Makes a very nice house plant. It's very easy to make new starts. It has a small bulb to it, and this was actually a plant from my mother's, and so or a start from my mother's plant. So it's probably a start from a plant that was probably as much as 60 to 70 years old.
Oh my gosh.
I just continually make new ones and give them as gifts. But you can also get one that blooms pink. I don't have one tonight that's blooming, but it's one of my favorite houseplants. Always reminds me of my mother.
Regina, how long do they bloom?
Oh, it has all these new blooms. It'll just keep blooming as long as I take care of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And don't leave it in the car.
Yeah, because I left it in the
She
car
left
while we
it
were
in the
out for
car.
supper, so it's drooped a little
And it
bit.
got a little droopy.
Yeah, it got a little droopy.
It's such a dainty.
Don't they call
Yes.
that shamrock too?
Yes, yes. It's actually, most people call it a shamrock, but it's really an oxalis.
And how big does it get? Is that pretty much the size?
This is pretty much the size that it'll stay about this size. One of my favorites.
It's very
It has
pretty.
special association for you because
It does,
came from your
it
mother.
does.
Is that one of the things that makes gardening special? The fact that it's often something that's kind of handed down in a family, in terms of favorite plants and things that you remember as a kid. I'm not a gardener. My mother wasn't a gardener. My grandmother wasn't a gardener. I have no gardening genes at all. But it seems to me that when people talk about gardening, just the fact that there are plants growing isn't enough for the kind of dedication that you see. Am I way off on that?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no, not at all.
I have a plant from my grandmother that, it's a Thanksgiving cactus, and it's probably as old as her mom's oxalis. And that one's always special to me too. And the other one is a peony. It comes from the farm that I grew up on, and it's probably 100-year-old stock. So,
I have one that's probably that old too. Yeah.
what color is yours? White with a little
It's
red?
white with a little red in the middle.
And mine are pink
Yeah.
from the home that I grew up in. So they're probably 100-year-old stock also.
Yeah.
There were
Yes.
a couple other colors, burgundy and another color, but I didn't get those dug up.
You can also
around the
get one
barn,
that, most of us, when we think of peonies, they're the snowball, they're the real heavy petaled ones. My neighbor has one that is a single peony, and it's more like a single rose
Yeah.
Oh,
flower.
really? I
And it's
never saw that.
very pretty. Yeah,
Yeah.
very pretty.
Not only that, I've been a gardener since I was probably 10, and I've had people that I've given plants away to, and they give me updates. So it kind of is nice to know that your legacy is kind of living on.
Yes,
It is.
yes.
And I see them in their yards too, so it's kind of fun. Gardening is a wonderful occupation.
Yes.
Tell us about some others.
Okay. The first thing I have up here is these bulbs, and they don't look like much right now, but these are some of them call them naked ladies. I call them surprise lilies. What do you call them?
Surprise lilies. But people from the South call them naked ladies.
There's a
always call them
meaning in there
surprise
somewhere, but I'm not sure what it is.
I think it's because the foliage only is available in the springtime and it all dies back. So when they actually come up to bloom in August, all it is one long stalk with the flowers. So they're naked ladies.
Yeah. And I think they only come in pink. That's the only color I've
Only
ever
I've
seen.
ever seen.
And
I didn't realize the bulbs were so big.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought they were small. We used to have a lot of those when I was growing up, in the front of the house.
well, I know I'm bringing some, and didn't you
I
say?
have a whole box of them.
Yeah. So
To bring.
So we.
So you
will-
kind of let those dry out then? Or
Yes.
do you? Do you?
Yeah, I think I had mine outside drying, and I left them out. And they're a little soft, but I think they'll be okay still. This here is a common plant. You probably have it in your yards, but it amazingly goes at the garden walk. It's hard to kill. That's why it's so popular. That would be a good one for you, Jean. And that is called Creeping Jenny. I'm not sure on the botanical name on that, but that's what it's commonly called around here. The more sun you give it, the more yellow it becomes. This is usually its spring color. Very hardy. It's a ground cover. It has, in some years, it has a little yellow flower that blooms, but it's pretty insignificant. This is one of my favorite flowers. Now, I haven't cut it back yet because I wanted you to see the full plant. I will come in here probably tonight or tomorrow and trim this back so it bushes out a little bit more. But this is called penstemon. It has a pinkish purple flower that blooms probably sometime in May into June. And it's very pretty. Not much of a smell or anything like that, but it's easy to grow. They also have the old-fashioned variety has green leaves, but this one caught my attention because of the burgundy color. I like to add all kinds of colors in my garden, and usually I do it with flowers, but I also like to do it with foliage. And you probably do too, huh?
That's a full sun.
Yes, it's a full sun one. And then this one here is Rudbeckia. That's Rudbeckia. The variety is Prairie Sun. another Rebecca that's common would be, I had it, Daisy,
A black-eyed Susan.
oh, black-eyed Susan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one produces a little bit bigger flower than what the black-eyed Susans do. And it's a kind of goldish yellow. Sometimes they're a little paler than that. And it has a brown center, sometimes kind of a reddish brown. It's a very pretty plant. It's a little bit of a nuisance because it likes to reseed all over the place, but I don't mind that because it's easy enough to pull and or plant them somewhere else where you might want them.
But let me ask a question for those of us who are challenged as gardeners. What if you just let them grow? Would you have like a whole flower bed full of them?
Yes, in fact, a lot of people use them as wildflowers and just let them self-sow.
Sounds like a good place to start if you don't know anything.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure that probably Mary Jean Ho with her wildflower garden out on the Creek Road, she probably has some variety of a Rebecca, I'm sure.
I think so, yes.
How long do those bloom, Sharon?
They are a wonderful plant if you want color. They bloom, this one will probably start blooming in about late May, June, early June somewhere, and they go throughout the fall. They'll die down a little bit. I cut mine back to force them into bloom again, and then they will bloom again, but they bloom almost all summer, which is another night. There aren't many perennial plants that do that.
All right.
So,
Well, okay. What does perennial plant mean?
perennial, okay, so we have annuals, biennials, and perennials. And an annual does all their growing in one season and dies when it frosts, generally. A perennial is a plant that lives over to the next year and can live like my peony that I brought that I'll talk about in a minute. Some of those last hundreds of years, as we were just discussing a little bit ago. And some are not quite. Actually, geraniums are half-hardy perennials. I've had in protected spaces. I don't know that I've ever had geraniums live over outside, but I have had begonias already. So, and that's also a half-hardy perennial. So it's, that's it. And a biennial is, right now, I think I only have one biennial, and that's Bleeding Heart. Some of you may be familiar. That was a pretty common old one that's been around for years, but that will come back. I should say that's a perennial too, but it dies back. The one biennial that I have right now is wallflowers, or Cherryanthus is the botanical name for that one. And it's it's blooming beautifully right now, the spots I have it, but it'll die eventually after it comes to the hot weather, and I won't see it again unless I plant more, or unless I have seed that come up. That would be nice.
Yes.
But it's a cute little flower. It comes in a multitude of colors. But I will not have any of those for the flower sale this year. Maybe next year. And then this, is probably, anybody could recognize this. This is a daylily. It came from my garden. My youngest grandson, who his biggest desire is to be a future master gardener, but when he was a little younger, he moved all my plant tags around. And so I have no clue as to what the name is. And, but I think it's similar to the Stella d'Oro daylily that you're familiar. I think this is the red one.
Oh.
It looks like it from the foliage, but I could be mistaken on that. So I don't buy daylilies. I just love any color. And so if I lose the name of the plant, it doesn't bother me as that much. I also, when I pick out daylilies, I like the foliage. Some of the foliage on some of the daylilies, while they might have beautiful flowers, they tend to the foliage or beautiful flowers. The foliage itself is not that great and tends to droop a little bit. So that's why I like this one. It's nice and flowy. It doesn't get too high. And it stays this nice green color pretty much. Is that what you find too?
Yes.
So,
And I also find with my daylilies, if we have a really very hot, dry period, they will die. A lot of the foliage dies back. But if we have a good soaking rain, then it all comes back up again.
yeah.
So,
If the deer don't eat them.
oh, well, I don't have that problem in
I
town.
do every year.
Oh, I thought
Every year.
daylilies were deer resistant.
No,
They're
No.
not.
no, they're deer lunch.
So that's something that people who are planning a garden need to think about?
Yeah, especially if you live out at Lake
Okay.
Forest.
Yeah.
So is it just deer, or do cats and dogs eat
no.
flowers?
Rabbits are the bane of my
Rabbits.
existence. But they don't eat daylilies, but they do eat lilies. And they do eat, what else were they? Oh, pansies. I had a beautiful bed of pansies, and snip, snip, zip. They came through and ate every last one.
Deer
So-
love hostas as well.
Yeah, they didn't
Hostas, yeah.
bother my hostas. I was surprised at that, but they sure like pansies and lilies.
Yeah.
So, this plant here is a coreopsis, and I believe I read at one point that this is the state flower of Colorado. And when you go out there this time of the year, it's just blooming all over the place. It's a very nice plant. It blooms this time of the year. A lot of my plants look exactly like this now. This one's going to be a pink one. But I started with a purple and a pink plant, and I have all colors now. Some from almost white to a real dark burgundy purple kind of color. So it's really pretty when they come up. You don't know what color you're going to get. This one I think is going to be a pink one, but they like to self-seed. I don't mind that they self-seed so much. They're a flower that doesn't tend to kill out a lot of other plants or anything. They tend to die back a little bit. I just snip them off with the foliage when it goes, and it comes back in the fall. Doesn't bloom in the fall, unfortunately. But then the next year, they come and they're beautiful this time of the year. I find them an easy plant to grow. I don't do anything with them particularly, but one of my favorite plants.
I have the ones that are considered a Missouri wildflower.
Oh, the little yellow
The little
and red.
yellow and red ones, and the hummingbirds really like those.
Yeah, I've seen them even eating, flying around these too. So, but yes, I think that one is more to their taste, I guess.
Yes.
So, and then my last plant is a peony. And this one, a lot of people have in their gardens. It is a pinkish one, and last year they were almost white pink, but generally they are a little darker. I don't know what was different about last year, but they're very easy to grow. The thing to remember with peonies when you're transplanting them is that they like to have their roots just above soil level, and because if you cover up all of the they make a little, I don't think we can even, this one you can't even see it now, but they make a little bit of a bulb looking like thing, I guess you could call it, or a root. And those first start showing up in the spring. And then these leaves they come in a wide variety. I have probably 15 varieties of peonies. My only one I don't have is an Ito, and they're so expensive though. One of these days, maybe I'll get it as a birthday
Yes.
gift. And but this is a full one that with many petals. I have some single ones, and I think you said too, Regina, that you have single ones also. And I really like those just as much as the real full ones. The worst thing about peonies is that when we get rain, and it seems it's always raining at this, and they're in full bloom, is that they drop down, and if you have mud or mulch, they get dirty, and then they get so heavy with the rain that they just don't look good after that.
Yeah.
But the single ones don't tend to do that.
Oh, really?
But they don't last very long. Do you have single ones too,
My
Karen?
neighbor does, beautiful dark
Yes,
red.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really striking, yeah.
Yes, but they just don't. I've got one that's been blooming for about a week now, but it's about done. So, whereas these tend to bloom a little longer, I think, anyway. So that I think is all I have about the garden walk. Let me take this away.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of when plants bloom and the colors that they are and which ones are sort of compatible with others, how do you plan a garden?
Oh, I tend not to worry about colors. All colors, as an artist, all colors look good together, don't you think?
Yes.
More or less. But with flowers, I can plan something, but then like the coreopsis, I'll have all pink and white maybe in there, and then this purple comes along. I could pull it, but I tend not to.
Do some plants get along with each other better than other plants do?
I think that's more with vegetables, isn't that, Regina?
Yes, I think that's more in the vegetable garden.
Okay.
Where there are companion plants. Carolyn, are you a gardener?
Not to that extent. Yeah, I'm a fair weather gardener.
Okay.
So I don't offhand know. I'm sure there are some better compatibilities. I know in some of my parts of my garden they do better, but then I live in our house is 30 years old, but that subdivision as a whole is fairly new. But when they did, they took all the topsoil and smeared it around, and you can see where topsoil is, things do better.
There are many, many garden products advertised on television. Do you need those?
I tend I have 3 compost bins, so I tend to do compost. But I also do a sprinkling, especially when I plant something, of an organic fertilizer. Biotone is the one I happen, but Fertilome has one. What's the one that's common, the green and yellow bag?
Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow. They're
Yes.
coming out with a series too. So I haven't tried that one. But that's pretty much the only, though I'm doing an experiment this year with putting rabbit droppings into my compost bins to see if I can boost the fertility that way too. So we'll see.
These people really are master gardeners.
They are. They study a lot.
Do you do anything more?
Usually not. I might do the same thing with the rabbit manure or horse, if I can find some horse manure that is old, that is more of a fine powder. That makes a nice dressing on your bed and is a good soil additive. But as far as feeding things, not too much. I think I'm sitting on a really fertile area. So I don't do that. And you ask about companion colors.
Yes.
one thing that I find about gardening, and I think Sharon would agree with me, is that a garden is ever changing, ever growing. If you plant something one year and you don't necessarily like it there, the next year you'll move it. And it's something that you never really finish. Always adding something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite saying is, a garden is always a work in progress.
Yes, yes.
So that's pretty much, you might see the poster around town. You can check on Facebook, more information. We have a Facebook page under St. Genevieve Master Gardeners, and you can find lots of information. I'll be putting out more information here in the next few weeks with maybe a contest where you can win a gift certificate of some sort, or certainly information. We'll be also posting pictures of other plants that will be on the garden walk. Our master gardener, Ben, had the African violets last year, and they went like hotcakes. And he will also have some this year. So we have lots of varieties. There'll be some shrubs and some trees, usually native varieties is what we tend to have.
Can you talk a little bit about what people will see on the garden walk?
Oh, yes, we have 19 gardens is what they said. Anyway, it's a mix of historic gardens. We have 3 new ones this year, right? And you'll see all kinds of different gardening styles, from anything with lots of garden ornaments to, my garden is not going to be on, but mine tends to be fewer garden ornaments, but more flowers. And, just a variety of things. is
You're
what you see.
talking about garden ornaments.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about like gnomes or
Yeah.
what kind of thing?
You're getting that
Yes,
ant.
Is it an ant?
but also some sculptures. They'll have the Blessed Virgin Mary is common. Angels are common. Other things too. The
Probably
Herdick
St.
House.
Francis, too.
Yes.
St. Francis.
I have a friend who, for a number of years, has had her garden on the garden walk, and it's called a spaghetti garden. And I've never gotten down there to see it. What would a spaghetti garden be?
I'm not sure what kind of terminology. There's a lasagna gardening
Are you
technique.
sure it's a lasagna garden?
Maybe,
Okay,
maybe.
It's kind of like a noodle.
yeah.
It's Sam Conlon's garden, and I think she may be on the walk this year as well.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and it seems to me she calls it a spaghetti garden, but it could just be a lasagna garden, but I still don't have any idea of what that means.
Well, when I go visit her garden, you'll have to ask, or I'll have to ask. I think maybe when she did her bed preparation, she did a lasagna gardening technique, and that's basically where you kill off the grass by putting. I've done that to my gardens. I put paper down. Some people use cardboard. I'm not crazy about cardboard, only because it's so hard to. It's harder to decompose. And then I usually just put a layer of mulch, but you can put a layer of compost and then mulch too on it. And then I do it in the fall when I was opening up new beds, and just let it sit over winter. And then the next spring, when you go to till that under, if it's a little moist, oh, it's just the best dirt. Have you used the lasagna technique
Yes.
too? You have to.
No, I haven't.
Yes.
Interested. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an easy way. You don't have to dig up all that grass and whatever weeds you're dealing with and that kind of thing. It's an easy technique.
Special request, between now and next year, will you find out why it's called a lasagna garden?
I think it's just because it's the
It's
layer.
layered?
I think
Yeah.
it's because it's layered.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That was one of the things I learned in master gardening.
Yes.
Gardening techniques. And that was before all the years, before YouTube and all the different gardening videos that come out now.
Now, you talked about master gardening techniques. Where can people learn those things? Does our extension office have something to do with that?
That's a good question. We attend, if you want to become a Missouri Master Gardener, you attend 12 weeks of classes, and they last 3 hours each evening, and very informative. Different speakers come each week and talk about different techniques. We talked about soil preparation, and we just talked about pest control, and you learn everything you could possibly need to know to be a good gardener.
And that's through our extension office.
It is, and
Is
I
it
believe
free?
it's not free, but we have a program where we will allow you to apply, and you have to attend the class, and then you apply to have part of your tuition reimbursed by the Master Gardeners.
We only reimburse after a year after your class. During that year, they're required to do 30 hours of 30 hours of volunteer time. That's not our requirement. That's part of the program.
Yes.
And so that's what if they follow all that, attend some of our meetings, I think we ask for half of them, and then we will consider giving back some of the tuition.
And I believe that Katie Kamler at the University Extension Office is in the planning stages of having the next Master Gardener class in St. Genevieve.
And you can also do it online too, through Missouri University Extension too.
But it's more fun to go with a group.
And Katie makes cookies.
Yeah, we always are in the streets.
That counts.
Yes.
She's a super nice person.
Yeah,
She is.
She is, yes.
Very knowledgeable too.
She is. You
Yes.
can ask her anything. She's got the answer without even looking
Yes,
it up.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, who sponsors the garden walk?
Actually, we do the St. Genevieve Master Gardeners, and also the local chapter of University Extension.
Yeah.
So
And about how many gardens are there on the walk this year?
19.
I think there are 19.
And they're scattered. I've seen the map in prior years, and it looks like they're scattered.
Yeah, we have some out in the St. Genevieve. We've tried to pull in farther distance, like more into the county. I was telling Carolyn here the other day, we tried Lake Forest one year because they have beautiful gardens out there, but people just didn't seem to want to drive. They didn't have much of a crowd at all, which is a shame because they were missing. If you're into gardening, they're beautiful gardens, and but most of them are down in the historic area and in the surrounding areas.
Walkable.
Well, most of them, except maybe some of the surrounding ones, you'd have to do a little driving to that, but they figure it out. And they get the ticket. We don't announce them the night. We don't announce it until what gardens are on until that day of the garden walk, simply because we know that we would lose some of our ticket sales. And that is the other thing that we use our ticket sales for. We have a beautification grant in that we give away money. We've given away $17,000 over. We started doing this in 2010. And this is our 15th year. And we did miss 2 years over COVID. And we missed last year because we had to use the money to do some major work on our, I call them pocket gardens. And we have the one there across from Audubon's and right next to Sarah's. In fact, we call it Sarah's Garden.
Tell us more about what you do in terms of the pocket gardens. I knew about those two. Are there any others?
There are several on the square, and pretty much they're all in the block